Hello.
Welcome back to another video. This time we wanted to sit down and discuss 6 things that we've learnt since leaving about travelling Australia. When we started, we watched a lot of these videos, or just videos in general, and these 6 things we didn't know about before leaving, so we didn't hear it from YouTube.
Hopefully it helps someone out there. Ding ding.
We are Meg and Isaac. In February 2024, we set off on the ultimate caravanning and camping trip around Australia in our Toyota Prado and Jayco Crosstrack.
Travelling Australia had been on the bucket list for such a long time, and we were prepared to make it work any way possible. Making do with what we had, working along the way, making adjustments as we go, and trying to stay within our budget, all to see this beautiful country we call home, Australia. First point, it might be harder than you think. It's amazing. Travelling Australia had been my dream since I was 12, and all I wanted to do was take off no matter what. But once we actually took off, I found it really hard to adjust. The disconnect to your friends, your family, really took a toll on me in the first couple of weeks, and I struggled with the fact that our lives, we basically retired, our lives completely slowed down, but everyone else's lives were busy. So just kind of, I suppose, yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah.
It might be harder than you think.
Yeah, that's right. It might be harder than you think. I think going from a job where you are busy all the time, you've got something to do every day, you've got an agenda, you've got to be somewhere every day, and you've got your mind ticking, to, you know, just going to the next place or even not even moving can be difficult. I think that's what we found anyway.
Oh, of course, when you travel also you don't have an income. So our first month we were living like we were on holiday. And then once we're pretty bad with our spending, but yeah, you don't have an income, so things are obviously very different. You're not just going out buying clothes. I know I was a pretty chronic shopper. Things like that, you have to be careful when you might want to buy yourself a box of beer.
Yeah, and I think just seeing your bank account go down rather than up is challenging, I think. And then also you're in a really unfamiliar setting. So
all the time.
Yeah, everywhere you go is unfamiliar. You're meeting different people all the time. You're having to go out of your comfort zone all the time, which is a good thing, but it can be uncomfortable and unfamiliar. So, you know, that familiarity of going home and sitting on the couch or sitting in your backyard or seeing the same people all the time just doesn't happen. So, you know, it can be uncomfortable in that sense as well. Don't see your family. Point number 2, or lesson learnt number 2, is that you don't have to get the best campsite wherever you are. We found this all along the way, is that we sort of started, really, didn't we, trying to get there where everyone else had booked in, and we just weren't keen to book too far in advance, so we had to stop that. Yeah, social media definitely creates a lot of hype around places to visit, places to stay, which is great, but because of this it's really hard to get in, which then can create angst, annoyance and stress about trying to get a campsite. So we really have just found that just winging it.
We just wing it. Yeah. We haven't really booked that far. We haven't booked anything really, and say, you know, this is a really flash campsite right here, but there's a, you know, not so popular one just here, so you can do a day trip to the fancy one. Yeah, don't get too hung up on trying to keep up with social media, I suppose.
Yeah, focus on what you do see and not what you don't see, I think is, and we'll probably go over that a bit more because that's a really big lesson learned.
So that leads us into point number 3, which is your trip is what you make it. We've really found that if you go into things with a positive attitude and maybe no expectations, you're going to have a good time, and you will make it what you want to make it.
I think actually with that point as well, you know, a lot of people we've actually come across have complained a lot about a site or a spot, or you know, there was too many flies there, or it was hot here, or whatever.
Yeah. Or it's windy.
Or windy, or whatever, and we've just, yeah, they seem like they haven't had a good time. So I think if you take a positive attitude, take it as it comes, and just move forward, and I think that's the way to do it.
Yours.
All right, so the next one, point 4.
Yep. Fourth learning.
Fourth learning is don't rush. We are pretty bad at this. We do it, and it is hard because, you know, there's time restrictions on a lot of people. But I think the reason why we rush is because we want to see everything, and that you don't have to see everything. You know, you've got a lot of time to see it down the track, and we would probably recommend, we enjoyed it a lot more when we stopped and had a good look around, stayed in places for a lot longer than 1-2 nights, because we feel like we're setting up the caravan, packing up the caravan, moving on, and that can get tiring in itself, and being in the car itself, and not having a home base. I think it's a natural instinct to do it, so it's really important to just chill out.
Yeah, it's okay to have a down day. That's something that we probably struggled with at the start.
Yeah, that's a good point. Actually.
And that was also a bit of a mental thing, is like, when you have a day and a half, 2 days of doing nothing, then you start to think, what am I doing with my life? We went down a rabbit hole of, you know, we're sitting here doing nothing on a Wednesday, and people are at work, or mum and dad's at work, or whatever, and that's when you start to go, what am I doing? Yeah. You know, I could be out there making money, I could be out there moving forward, but it is okay to have those down days. Yeah. And not rush. Number 5. Fifth learning for traveling Australia is make your own judgment. Again, coming back to social media is
or not necessarily. Sorry.
Word of mouth.
Yeah. I reckon this one is like, social media is a part of it, but like this one is, we'll see people coming, say, down the west coast,
and we're going up.
And we're going up the west coast, and so you're always talking to people. How was this spot? What was this spot like? And we've just got so many different opinions, and it's all based off their experience. So it might have been windy, it might have been raining, the water might not have been as clear that day. The majority of the time they're only there for one day, and that's what they then portray to someone else coming up. Yeah,
that's where we come to the learning, is you might come across people that have had a negative experience, or you know, just thought it was mediocre, which might then put you off and say, oh, we don't need to go and see it. But I think it is worth, if it's something you are keen to see and you've got on your list, go and see it. Yeah. Because you might get the absolute, you know, primo day and think it's the best place on earth. We went to Squeaky Beach at Wilson's Prom.
And we thought it was shit house.
Because it was voted #1 beach in Australia one year, and we were there on the windiest day, and you know, like, we still had a fun time, but we did not see it on its #1 rating day.
Yeah, like, we wouldn't rush back there, but someone who has seen it on a good day will rush back there. Yeah, pretty much.
That makes me also think of crowds. Like, yes, it's so nice when you go to a waterhole, to a beach, something, and you get it to yourself. That's great. You've scored the jackpot. But 7.5, 8 times out of 10, there's going to be other people there.
Especially if you're going to, you know, all the popular tourist spots.
Yeah, and like, try not to let that bother you too much. Just because, you know, if you stay out of their way, they'll stay out of your way, and you just need to make the most of it.
Yeah, that's right. Make what it is. It's your trip, and if you get worried about what other people are doing, then then that's not going to be any good for you. We sound like parents. We sound like someone's mum and dad.
Someone's sitting our kids down and saying,
Yeah.
life advice.
Number 6, our last one. I reckon this is the one that's stopping most people from travelling. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, it's whatever you have. If you want to do it, make it work. I think, and this comes from us at the start, or before we started travelling. We were like, we need this, we need this, we need this.
Yeah.
But we still made it work for us. But we still got caught in the trap a little bit. And we got on the road and we saw people with $500,000 setups, and we saw people with
20,000.
not even 20,000.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people in a
old mate at El Cuestro in his $500 Pajero.
Yeah, that's right. He was in a $500 Pajero that he got, and he was seeing all the same stuff we were. He was on the Gibb River Road. Like, it's just you just don't need a big setup or a fancy setup. You can literally go with what you have. If you're a camper, which if you want to travel Australia, you're probably going to be a weekend warrior camping, which we were before we left. We could have left in what we were camping in, but we didn't. But yeah, if you can literally do it in that, whatever you're camping.
Well, we did have a bit of a financial crisis meeting before we bought our caravan. Really,
it was all going to blow up. We weren't going to come.
No, yes, we were going, because we were like, can we even, is there any point buying a caravan when we're going to be out of pocket once we get on the road? And we just were like, can we even do this? But I just remember saying to Isaac, like, this is my dream. I don't care if we're in a swag. Yeah, it would have been rougher, harder. We wouldn't have had wouldn't have been as organised, but we still would have been living our dream.
Yeah, I think if you work out what are the non-negotiables for travelling and for living,
Yep.
What are the creature comforts? What are the things that you want, basically, or you need? Because it's getting windy.
For us, what we really, really wanted to be able to do was, not that we're going to be able to tonight because we're camping on a beach.
In a swag.
But we really wanted to be able to get out of the wind, the rain.
Yeah.
And have a bit of privacy.
And then, and really, you don't know until you leave too. So. Yeah, so we didn't know a lot of stuff which we wanted until we left.
Yeah, and this is going to be probably a bit of a longer point, but it is such a valid one, because before we left, we knew that obviously work would have to happen, and Isaac was pretty hell-bent on only having to stay in one spot for, say, a month.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, and because you have so much flexibility, you can go and do whatever you want. Like, you could work for 3 months and then go, well, actually, now we're going to go down south and then across and then up, or something like that. And we had to be home in October anyway, so it just worked out really well that we'll go back and go around the other way to get the rest of the year. Yeah. So far, that's the plan at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. That's the fun thing about it, is that you don't really need to have a concrete plan, because you are so free.
Yeah.
It's proper freedom. For us it is. We don't have any assets at home, whatever. But like, we know people that are running businesses and they're on the road. We know people that own homes, and you just make it work.
Yeah, I think.
With how you can do it.
Yeah, we ran into this one, the perfect example. He wanted to do it. He's been doing it for quite some time. I can't remember how long. But he was a builder. And then he went and said to his boss, I want to do this. And then his boss said, well, how about you go into sales? So he works online for 6 hours a day. 4 hours a day.
4 hours a day.
4 hours a day. And in the morning, so he wakes up at 6 and finishes work starts at 6, finishes at 10, because he's from the East Coast, and does sales calls and, whatever he needs to do. And then he goes out and enjoys his day with his family and kids.
Beautiful family of 4, so.
And, he wouldn't have been able to, he just made that work. He made that work with his job, he's made that work with whatever properties he had, and with his family. So
So yeah, but just to bring this whole point in,
yeah,
is just
good idea.
If this is your dream, please do whatever you can to make it work for yourself.
It's your priorities at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Set a date. Set a savings goal. We set a date to leave on the 20th of February 2024, and we said we'd have to have 30 grand in the bank before we could leave.
Whoa, disclosing money now.
30 grand's down the drain. That stuff's gone now. Time to save the next lot.
Now everyone knows how poor we are.
Don't matter. Look at where we are.
All right, well, I hope you got something out of that. We really wanted to help someone else who may be sitting at home and is about to travel or thinking about traveling.
Please message us or comment on the videos. We really would love to help anyone.
Yeah, ask us questions. We love imparting whatever we've learnt on the road, especially to other caravanners or whatever. Travellers. Yeah, not caravan. So anyway, reach out if you have any more questions and let us know if this is something that you enjoyed and we can do more of.
Cheers. Come see with us. Bye bye.